So recently I had a lull in games to play, and there was a really scary event that almost occurred. I almost had to pay attention to the news, or my wife, or my family, stuff like that. It just got very dangerously close, but thank God there was a game that came around called Castle of the Underdogs, and this game has enveloped me in its story to the point where I could finally and comfortably not pay attention to the world around me, so I can continue my life getting advice from a giant stuffed animal with a talking cat on its head. If you don't get that reference, well, you should, and you will. Listen, I want to talk about this game, Castle of the Underdogs. It is really remarkable in my opinion. Now, I want to address one thing first, and that is, the art style. Like, some people are going to like it, some people aren't. It has that Minecraft art style, and I actually really enjoy it. I'm not a huge fan of Minecraft myself, but the art style, I think, plays into not only this game really well, but into a lot of other games. It's just, hey, I don't enjoy Minecraft because I'm negative creativity. But as for the medium, I think it really opens up different pathways for a character to maybe just have a little bit more depth, a little bit more charm, if you will. Certain aspects like detailed facial expressions just add a new layer to a character and add a little bit more personality. And I think in certain scenarios it can be more achievable in this medium, but that's not to poop on pixel art or anything else, just saying, as for this game, it works really well. And what else works really well for this game is the writing, the storytelling, the character development. I was seriously taken back by just how funny and endearing this game really is. And it's not just these aspects that make me think that. It's not like, oh, the guy just did a really great job writing a story. No, you can wait for like cutscenes where you see detailed facial expressions. You see the way that they kind of react to each other and how this world is able to grow in itself, not being forced along, not you being told this is what you are supposed to think about these characters. You develop your own thoughts about them because of these cutscenes and because of just the detail. And it starts off with just an incredibly solid base, and that's honestly what we got a ton of from this game. Like, one thing I notice all the time when I'm reviewing indie games is controls and then like camera controls. Those are two things that are really important to me, because you wouldn't believe how many games are just ruined right off the bat by those two aspects. And that was one thing I noticed, like, just from the jump. This was really good. It just felt really good. And it's hard to explain that, but you know it when you're playing, It just feels solid to you. Not to mention, camera control in itself is something that, I don't know, there's a lot of games that just can't seem to do that right, and this game definitely does. Now, this game centers around Hikaru. She's a girl who basically steals a wand from her sister. See, a package was sent to her sister, and she decided to open it up. She found out it was a wand. She started reading about it, and let's just say, once she actually comes to again, she's able to take the wand, and the wand and her work really well together. It's possible that I read far too many fantasy novels, but I've always heard that a wand chooses its owner, and in this situation, that's what seems to happen. Well, instead of being this one-dimensional white knight kind of character, Hikaru ends up hurting a lot of her friends with their wand, as well as some fellow villagers, and most of this comes out of just ignorance, if you will. She really didn't understand what kind of power she had with this wand, but a lot of it comes off as just really funny. In fact, there's a mechanic in the game where you end up stunning your friends, and then you use them as scarecrows, which is just hilarious. You don't interact with any of this, but it's just a story that's there on the side. After this new power is acquired, she decides, let's go to the Dark Woods. So her and a couple of her friends go to the Dark Woods, a place that they're not supposed to go to. In here, there's a lot of random encounters, there's some chests, there's things of that nature, and you do learn how to open them, and you learn how to get further into the woods as time goes on. I'm not going to give the whole story away, but you eventually step upon a castle, and in the castle, you find Hikaru's grandpa, who's been long dead. Well, sort of her grandpa. From there, the story really takes off as you learn more and more about Hikaru, maybe why she has this ability, and how that pertains to her lineage. And so at this point, you might be asking yourself, what are the negative aspects of this game? And there are a few, but they're far and few between. The biggest one being, well, the length. It's only about 3 to 4 hours, and I guess if you want to do everything, it could probably take you around 5 hours, but there isn't a whole lot of content here. Namely, that's because this game was done by one person. And when you look at the depth of characters, and not just starring characters, NPCs, enemies, pretty much every character you run into in this game will have some sort of depth to them. Now, it's also remarkable that a majority of the buildings are also interactive in some manner. You can go into them, you can find chests, talk to people. A lot of this stuff, which we expect out of a AAA game, coming from, well, like I said, one person, it's quite amazing. The other thing that does bother me, though, I have to say, is that talking to the creator told me episode 2 was probably at least a year or two away, as the sales from this game might greatly impact an episode 2. The other thing that I would say is a negative, but it's not even a negative, it's more just a neutral, is the soundtrack. I don't love it, it's not anything outstanding, but it does fit the game, I guess. It offers a canvas for the game to, really shine on, but it's not anything remarkable. It's fine. It's, it's decent, but with everything else from this game, you almost expect that to also step up, but you can't have everything, right? And especially for $4.99. So ultimately, if I have to give this game a number grade, I would give it a 9 out of 10. And this is one of those rare situations where I'm actually going to say you should not wait for a sale. You should just buy the game. If you think you're interested in it, if it looks like it might be something you're into, you'd be funding a very creative, talented, and humble creator. And again, a lot of the sales really reflect on there being an episode 2, and I really want to see that happen. So I would definitely suggest picking this one up, even if you're slightly interested in. It's only $4.99, so it's really not even that big of an ask, especially when you consider that this game would actually fit right at home with a lot of classic RPGs. Honestly, in some manners, I would argue maybe even better than some that I really like. Like, just based on the writing alone, I would say arguably better than a few. But aside from the fact that you can tell that the creator is a big fan of those RPGs with different references and save points and things of that nature, you're also getting that experience. Not really for the nostalgia, but for a new experience that is still in the realm of classic traditional RPGs with the comedy styling of writing. It's honestly probably the funniest game I've played and most just entertaining game I've played in quite a long time. So I definitely advise anyone check it out. It's worth your time and money. That's my thoughts on Castle of Underdogs. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Is this something you're interested in picking up, something you've heard of, something you've been waiting for, or something you've never heard of at all? Anything and everything down below in the comment section. Always appreciated. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.